Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Prachur Premad Karuna Prachur Jaya Nilo. You know the song? You're going to sing in the chorus? Let's start again. Give me the note. Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Prachur Heno Prabhu Kotagelachaya Thakur Kahamora Swarup Rupa Kahasanata Kadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamora Bhatta Juga Kaha Kaviraj Eka Kali Kotagela Gora Nataraj Bhashane Kuti Bo Mata Annale Pashibo Koranga Gunera Nidhi Kotagele Pabo Se Sabba Sangira Sange Je Koilo Bila Se Sangana Paya Kande Naro Damada Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Prachur Heno Prabhu Kotagelachaya Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Sarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. So this is the disappearance, or yesterday was disappearance day of Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And so I'm going to read these pastimes from the Samadhi's book. Appearing in 1638 AD, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Hari Vallabha Das, came in the disciplic succession from Sri Narottam Das Thakur. Vishwanath took Diksha from Sri Radha Raman Chakravarti. Although married, Vishwanath was indifferent and soon renounced family life. He came to Vrindavan Dham and did Krishna Bhajan at Radha Kund. He was known as the crest jewel of the Vaishnavas because of his pure devotion, his scholarship, and his realized perception of Radha Gokulananda's intimate conjugal pastimes. Gaudiya authorities say that Sri Rupa Goswami is Vag Dev Avatar, an incarnation of the god of speech. And Gaudiya Acharyas, especially among his direct disciples, believe that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is an incarnation of Sri Rupa Goswami. Among all Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, only Vishwanath Chakravarti comes close to matching Srila Rupa Goswami's profound realizations on the absolute truth. Vishwanath Chakravarti's name itself implies his position. Vishwanath means he who reveals the jewel of devotion to Vishwanath, Sri Krishna, the Lord of the universe. Chakravarti means he who expands the chakra or circle of bhakti. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was the protector, guardian, and acharya during the middle period, 1600 to 1700, of the historical development of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Close quote. The growth of Gaudiya Vaishnavism began with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was later rejuvenated by Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinod, spread by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and broadcast all over the world by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. During his stay in Vrindavan, Vishwanath worshipped deities of Radha Gokulananda and Sri Giriraj. His Govardhan Shila was first worshipped by Lord Chaitanya, then Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna Das Kaviraj, Sri Mukunda Das, Srimati Krishna Priya Thakurati, and Vishwanath Chakravarti. Today, this Giriraj Govardhan deity resides in the Radha Gokulananda temple in Vrindavan. Some claim the Govardhan Shila is in Bhagavat Nivas in Ramanreti near the ISKCON Krishna Balaram Mandir. In a dream, Lord Sri Krishna ordered Vishwanath Chakravarti to make commentaries on the Goswami's books. Immediately, he started writing prolifically. Clouds would shield him from the sun whenever he sat to write. Once a torrential downpour flooded the area where Vishwanath was writing his Bhagavat commentaries. Miraculously, not a drop touched Vishwanath or his Bhagavat manuscript. While compiling Mantrartha Deepika, the explanation on the Kama Gayatri mantra, Vishwanath became perplexed. According to his exhaustive research, which indicated 25, he couldn't substantiate why Krishna Das Kaviraj wrote in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Kama Gayatri contains 24 1/2 syllables. And that these syllables correspond to the 24 1/2 moons present on Krishna's transcendental body. In a dream, Srimati Radhika instructed Vishwanath, "Oh Vishwanath, please don't lament anymore. What Krishna Das Kaviraj wrote is true. He is also my confidential maidservant, and he knows everything about my most secret, innermost moods. This Kama Gayatri is the mantra for worshipping me. Indeed, I can be known by the syllables of this mantra. Without my mercy, no one can learn anything about the mystery of this mantra. The solution to the half syllable is found in the book Varnagama Baswadi." This book has no diacritic, so forgive me if I mispronounce something. I couldn't get that together. Seeing this book, Krishna Das Kaviraj wrote as he did, The letter Ya, which is followed by the letter V, as in the words Kama Devaya Vidmahe, is considered to be a half syllable. This falls on Krishna's forehead because his forehead is shaped like a halo of a half moon. All the other letters of the mantra are full syllables and therefore full moons. Now wake up, check that book, and compile this evidence for everyone's benefit. Instantly awakening, Vishwanath cried out in ecstasy, "Hey Radhe, hey Radhe, hey Radhe!" Having Radharani's darshan infused Vishwanath Chakravarti's writing with divine Shakti. He felt that he had been accepted as one of Srimati Radharani's confidential maidservants. His writings reflected this realization. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wrote over 40 Sanskrit books on the science of pure devotion to Radha Giridhari. He also made the sweetest, most highly realized Rasika Tikas, or commentaries, on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, the works of Srila Rupa Goswami, Kavi Karnapur, and Narottam Das Thakur. So, I have a file, I think I have a PDF of it, of Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the 10th canto is also Sanatana Goswami's and Jiva Goswami's commentary at it. If you're interested, just write to me, Dravida108@gmail. He wrote Sri Krishna Bhavanamrita, Madhurya Kadambani, Vrajariti Chintamani, Chamatkar Chandrika, Swapna Vilasamrita, Sankalpakalpa Juma, and others. Now this Sri Krishna Bhavanamrita, it's quite an intimate book, but Prabhupada, in the Krishna book, Prabhupada says, this book can be read by, what is it, not exemplary, by advanced Vaishnavas. I've seen devotees quote that and take out the advanced part, and so the devotees want to read that book, but it's like, in the second chapter, there's a whole description of bathing Radharani, so be careful if you want to read that book. I do have it, though. Okay, the life and teachings of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti give happiness, inspiration, and transcendental wisdom to the entire Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We sincerely pray that after thousands of births, we will someday qualify to become a particle of dust under the shade of his lotus feet. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad Ki Jai. In Krishna Lila, he serves Srimati Radharani as Vinod Valari Manjari. His samadhi is in the Radha Gokulananda temple courtyard. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. And now, I'm going to read about Raghunath Das Goswami. And tomorrow is Advaitacharya's appearance day. So on that day, there's one other person who appeared on yesterday who Dharma Seda will also read about. And we will eventually get to the Bhagavatam. But we don't want to ignore these great souls. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, born in a dynasty of Vaishnavas, Raghunath Das Goswami was the only son of a wealthy landowner. As a boy, he received Haridas Thakur's association and blessings. At 15, he met Lord Chaitanya. By the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he renounced a beautiful wife and an opulent family. He ran to Jagannath Puri to intimately serve Sri Gaura Rai and his Shiksha Guru Sarup Damodar Goswami for 16 years. Lord Gauranga gave his personal Govardhan Shila and Gunjamala to Raghunath Das Goswami. Now this story of his escape, if you will, from the household life is told in quite detail in the Antya Lila, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Raghunath Das couldn't live after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world. So he came to Vrindavan with the intention of ending his life by jumping off Govardhan Hill. But Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami affectionately received him. They convinced him to live on and enlighten all the Brijbasi Vaishnavas with Sriman Mahaprabhu's Puri pastimes. For 3 hours a day on the banks of Radhakund every day, he spoke about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Raghunath Das did Radha Krishna Bhajan at Radhakund for 40 years. He lived an austere life of pure devotion. Raghunath Das Goswami showed the ultimate standard of renunciation required to attain the eternal loving service of Radha Giridhari in Nitya Nukunja Leelas at Radhakund. His perfect example enthuses all Gaudiya Vaishnavas to develop unalloyed pure love for Radha Krishna. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's daily bhajan included chanting 64 rounds of japa, that's 100,000 holy names roughly, doing Manasi Seva, that's in the mind, in, the spirit, in his spiritual body, worshipping Govardhan Shila, that's the stone from Govardhan, which we have on the altar too, several of them. Bathing thrice a day in Radhakund, offering 1,000 obeisances to Krishna, offering 2,000 obeisances to Vaishnavas and embracing them, resting 90 minutes a day, and sometimes, some days not at all. Keep in mind, however, when an eternal associate of the Lord externally rests, internally he continues serving. He ate only 1 leaf cup, 100 grams of buttermilk daily. Throughout his life, he never ate anything for sense gratification. He took the bare minimum to keep body and soul together. It's said that after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya, Raghunath Das ate only fruit and milk. After Sanatana Goswami Pad left, he existed on a leaf cup of buttermilk every day or two. And when Sri Rupa Goswami entered Nitya Leela, Raghunath Das gave up all eating and drinking. He was slowly burning in the fire of separation from the Lord and his loving servants. The Brajbasis would cry upon seeing his weakened condition. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami wrote 3 books. Stavavali, which contains Manak Shiksha, Vilap Kusumanjali, and more. Mukta Charita, Danakeli Chintamani, and Danakeli Chintamani. Stavavali is an anthology of many poems. That's what Avali means, a series of stavas of poems. In Jaiva Dharma, Srila Thakur Bhaktivinoda said, Raghunath Das Goswami showed the esoteric method of engaging oneself in the loving service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, close quote. Raghunath Das wrote and taught that the divine service of Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan is the topmost spiritual perfection. For this he was known as Prayojana Acharya, the teacher who reveals the highest fulfillment in life. Raghunath Das Goswami clearly established the supremacy of Srimati Radharani. In Vilap Kusumanjali, a collection of intimate prayers, he states that Sri Radha's service is the highest attainment. Feeling extreme impatience and hopelessness due to separation from, quote, the queen of his life, he desperately prays for Radharani's service. And here's a quote from that book. My life is worthless. I will give it up without receiving your mercy. Living in Radhakund and Vrindavan is meaningless to me. To say nothing of Vrindavan, even Krishna himself is useless to me without you. O Srimati Radharani, you are the only object of my life. Please be merciful to me. Crying profusely in great lamentation, I hold your lotus feet to my heart and beg for your loving service. May this Vilap Kusumanjali bring even the slightest satisfaction to you. Close quote. Srila Raghunath Das serves Sri Radha as Rati Manjari in Sri Vrindavan Dham. His samadhi is at the Radhakund and the 64 samadhis area. And now I'd like to share one verse by Raghunath Das. I think this is from Stavavali. It's about the holy name. Many of you have heard this before. Radheti nama navasundara siddhu mugdam. Krishneti nama madhurabhradagara dugdam. Savakshanam sodaviraga himena ramyam. Kritvata daiba pebame rasane chodarte. An excellent fresh nectar drink with endless subtle tastes. Such is the name of Radha, by whom all 3 worlds are graced. Condensed milk that is wonderfully delicious, thick and sweet. Such is the name of Krishna, in whom all attractions meet. Now mix these drinks, O thirsty tongue, and add the cooling, fragrant spice of love, a prize the wise will try to buy at any price. And then at every moment drink this beverage most fine, and make my heart supremely blissful, peaceful, and divine. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami Ki Jai. And now we will proceed to Srimad Bhagavatam. Just give me a second here. Okay. Text 3 on the board? Okay. Narayanam namaskritya Narang chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudiriye Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Prayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavachuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in special songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this third day of February 2025 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Canto 8, Chapter 3, Text 3. Yasmin idam yatas chedam yenedam yahidam swayam yo asmat parasmat chaparas tam papadye swayambhuvam yasmin idam yataschedam yenedam yahidam swayam yosmat parasmat chaparas tam papadye swayambhuvam. Chant. Yasmin idam yataschedam yenedam yahidam swayam yosmat parasmat chaparas tam papadye swayambhuvam. Yasmin idam yataschedam yenedam yahidam swayam yosmat parasmat chaparas tam papadye swayambhuvam. Yasmin idam yataschedam yenedam yahidam swayam yosmat parasmat chaparas tam papadye swayam. Okay, word by word, just listen. Yasmin, the basic platform on which, idam, the universe rests, yataha, the ingredients from which, cha, and, idam, the cosmic manifestation is produced. Yena, by whom, idam, this cosmic manifestation is created and maintained. Yaha, he who, idam, this material world. Swayam is himself, yaha, he who, asmat, from the effect, this material world. Parasmat, from the cause, cha, and paraha, transcendental or different. Tam, unto him, papadye, I surrender, swayambhuvam, unto the Supreme, self-sufficient. Translation. The Supreme Godhead is the supreme platform on which everything rests, the ingredient by which everything has been produced, and the person who has created and is the only cause of this cosmic manifestation. Nonetheless, he is different from the cause and the result. I surrender unto him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is self-sufficient in everything. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakthamurtina. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but everything rests upon my energy, just as an earthen pot rests on the earth. Close quote. The place where an earthen pot rests is also earth. Then again, the earthen pot is manufactured by a potter whose body is a product of earth. The potter's wheel with which the pot is made is an expansion of earth, and the ingredients from which the pot are made are also earth. As confirmed in the Shruti mantra, Yato vahimani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayantya visang vishanti. The original cause of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and after being annihilated, everything enters into Him. Prakatim yanti mamikam. Thus, the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna, is the original cause of everything. Ishvarak Paramak Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Controller. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for He is the prime cause of all causes. Brahma Samhita 5:1. The Lord is the cause for everything, or the cause of everything, but there is no cause of Him. Sarvam kalvidam brahma matstani sarvabhutani nachaham te shavastitaha. Although He is everything, His personality is different from the cosmic manifestation. Om jnana timarandasya jnanandana shalakaya chakshu unmidatam mena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara, the disciplic succession. So, this is one of the prayers now of Gajendra. He's launching into his prayers. And there's a certain format to these prayers, and you'll find in the Bhagavatam. And I'd like to share it with you. I remember years ago, I used to go every Christmas to a retreat in Chicago with Ramapad Maharaj. And he would pick the subject, and one year he picked the subject of Vandanam. And Vandanam, was part of one of the 9 processes of devotional service. And it has 2 meanings, common meanings. One is bowing down, and the other is praying. Prayer is also part of it, right? So I was a little bit interested in investigating, well, how could it mean both those things? And I looked at some of the prayers, Kunti's prayers, Gajendra's prayers here, Brahma's prayers, and you'll find a general format there. One is that there's almost always near the beginning, an obeisances. In Kunti's prayers, you'll find several prayers like that where she offers obeisances to Krishna. And then glorification. Just like the Tulsi song is a prayer. Namo, Namo, it starts out with offering obeisances, right? And then glorification. Glorification. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled, right? And in Kunti's prayers, she's glorifying him as the source of everything. Same thing here. And then there's always a request. Prayer means that there's a request somewhere along the way. So those 3 elements is very interesting. Now the glorification, like when we sing the Tulsi song, well, okay, whoever takes shelter has his wishes fulfilled. Well, I'm taking shelter of you, and here's my wish. I want to serve Radha and Krishna forever. I'd like to please reside in Vrindavan so I can see their pastimes, and then I can serve them. So similarly, we'll find that here with Gajendra. He's now in the glorification phase, and I think the first verse. I think is this the second verse of the prayers? I think so. Or maybe the 3rd verse. So there was an obeisances there, and eventually he'll have his request. I forget what that is. I don't think he's just requesting to be saved, but probably to have eternal service or something. I'll look that up. So that's very interesting, in that there's a certain science to the prayer, because unless you have confidence that this personality who you're praying to can really fulfill your desire, then you may be doubtful about the prayer. So usually you'll find that they're glorifying, here's the source of everything. Krishna is everything, he's the ingredients. It's very interesting. That he's the creator, but at the same time, he's the creation in a very important way. This is expressed in the Bhagavad Gita in different places. Krishna's, all the energies. What do we find in the 7th chapter? Bhumar apo analo vayo kangmano buddha ahankata idiyame binna paklarashada. These are the 8 material elements in successively more subtle form, each one, that form the world that we see. And they're all Krishna's energies. So in that sense, Krishna is everything. You see? In fact, there's a verse, Idam Vishwam Bhagavan. That's the beginning of the first line of the verse in the Bhagavatam. And it means, this universe is Bhagavan. But Ivetara. But it seems to be different from him. You see? It seems to be something else. But this is one of the visions of a devotee who's aspiring to, after all, what are we aiming for? To be able to remember Krishna at all times and to see him everywhere manifest. In other words, that from that point, then he says, after naming those 8 immaterial elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, they're all progressively subtle, but they're all material. Then he says, who can say the next verse? Apareyam itastvanyam prakritam vidhi me param. But there's another energy of mind which consists of all the living entities, the jivas, who are pervading this world. They're sustaining this body. Like each body, I remember I once thought of this and then I soon read it. I was in the book, or heard Prabhupada say it, that each body is like a little mini universe, each of our bodies. And we're trying to be the master of the whole thing, right? as the souls. We're not doing that great a job of it. But we are the controllers in an important way. In other words, it's all created in such a way that if we want to do something, I want to pick up, I don't even have to think about it, right? So many things are happening just for me to pick up this glass and take some water, right? The firing from my desire as the soul has to be registered in the brain, go in the nervous system and like this and pick it up and don't spill it, which I've done several times. And all this exact. So it's really miraculous. So we're little masters of this universe, but we're really not. Because when it breaks down, we have to leave. We have no power to fix it. If it does get fixed, that's Krishna's arrangement, right? The body can repair itself in many ways, till it eventually can't. So that understanding is critical for our developing our Krishna consciousness, where we can feel Krishna's presence always, within and without. Without, we can see him acting through his material energy. And also other souls, you see? They're all parts of Krishna. And within, we can feel that he's there guiding us, and that if we dovetail our will and our activities with his interest, then we feel in tune, we feel peaceful, we feel joyful. And the more we do that, the more blissful we become. So that, and what is the context of that 7th chapter? It comes after the 6th chapter, right? So the 6th chapter is all about this Ashtanga Yoga, right? And Krishna is very serious about describing it in summary form, you see. But what happens? At the end, I can't do it. There's no way I can do it. The mind is too powerful. It's too stubborn. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridham. These are all characters of the mind which make it exactly against what the yoga is, which is quiet mind, focused. No, it's too chanchala. He wants to go here, wants to go there. Very powerful, stubborn. Like controlling this mind is like trying to control a hurricane. I can't do it, Krishna says. You can't do it now, but with practice you'll be able to, he's encouraging him. So Arjuna says, well, what if I fail? I'll give up my Kshatriya duties, I'll leave my family, I'll go to the Himalayas, I'll sit there alone, yes, back straight, and all that. But then if I fail, I'll be like a riven cloud. I will have failed in yoga, and I would have given up my other life, and so I'll have nothing. So obviously, Arjuna is not ready to take it up, and he's representing us. So what does Krishna do? He changes the whole conversation at the end of the 6th chapter. He says, don't worry. Yogina bhamisarvesham modgaten antaratmana shraddhavam bhajate yomam same yuktatamomata. The greatest yogi is one who always abides in me, one who's always thinking of me within himself, always, you see, and worshiping me, bhajate is in there, with great faith and concentration. So Arjuna breathes a big sigh of relief and says, oh, okay, well, Krishna's my friend. I'm always thinking of him, And then he begins instruction for us, really. Of course, Arjuna's always thinking of Krishna. How we can gradually develop that point of always seeing Krishna within and without. Maya sakta manava. Now I'm going to show you how you can cultivate your mind so it's naturally attracted to me. Then the mind won't be our enemy anymore, as he says in the 6th chapter. It can be your worst enemy or your best friend. It'll become your best friend. Because you'll train it in such a way that it's always seeing Krishna everywhere, within and without, and like that. So then he starts explaining the energies, and then what does he say? Rasoham apsukanteya babasmi shasisuriyo pranabhaksava vedeshu. He's giving I am the taste of water. I mean, does anyone not drink water at least once a day? So when you do that, this nice taste of this filtered water, or whatever it is, that's Krishna. He just says so. You see the sunlight and the moonlight, okay, that's Krishna. Prabhasmi Shachisuyo. I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. So you've seen, Om is all pervading. So he's telling us how we can experience him, rather than just go through our days and have all these sensations and everything and try to enjoy them if they're pleasurable or try to avoid them if they're painful. We see them as Krishna's energy working, and our senses ourselves, which are also created by Krishna, are now interacting with them. So it's very instructive. And ultimately, of course, after Krishna explains so many things, he comes to the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Just think of me. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Become my devotee. Madhyaji mam namaskuru. You worship me and you offer your obeisances to me. Surely you'll come to me. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. Now he's promising Arjuna, but we can also become Krishna's very dear friend in this way. And now, one of the most famous verses, Sarva dharma parijyajya, mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sava papabhyo mokshayisyami ma shuchaha. Ma shuchaha. This is Radharani's famous mudra there, you can see. There's a name. Who can give me the name of this mudra? We went through this before. Abhay? Abhay Dan. Dan. The Dan is important. Dan means the gift of fearlessness. Thank you. So that Krishna's, she's not different from Krishna. She's doing Krishna's work here. That don't worry. Don't be afraid. You just serve us, you try to love us, you surrender, and everything will be fine. It's very encouraging. So Krishna says the same thing. Ma shucha, don't worry. You just surrender unto me and alone, and give up everything else I said. Karma yoga, dhyana yoga, buddhi yoga, whatever yoga I taught you, forget about it. Ashtanga yoga. Just surrender unto me alone, and worship me with all your heart. You won't incur any sin for fighting this battle, because that's the ultimate thing. There will be no sin, because it's my desire. You'll be doing my work. So then he asked, well, Arjuna, have you heard me? What are you going to do? I'm going to do as you say. Now my illusion has been destroyed by your mercy, and I'm going to fight in this battle. So back to Gajendra. He's now offering us obeisances, and I last night, those of you who were here, hopefully most of you were here, there was a question about the inner meaning of obeisances, right? And I was quoting from Gopi Prananda's commentary to the beginning of this book, Krishna Lila Stava. It's a wonderful book. Sanatana Goswami goes through and he summarizes all the Vrindavan Lila of Krishna, and he weaves in so many obeisances in the verses, So at the beginning, there's some explanation. What does Namaha actually mean? What is it? So there's different levels of it, of offering obeisances, or namaste. I remember I used to ride Indian Airlines. The last time I rode Indian Airlines was when we were just pulling out, and then they stopped the plane, and they made an announcement. Oh, sorry, we forgot to fuel up the plane, so we'll have a little delay. Oh, thank. Well, I'm glad you figured that out before you took off. Anyway, that's Indian Airlines. But the stewardess, they call it namaste. It's more or less hello, welcome, like that. So that's, not. But when there's dandavats, the full obeisances, then it's understood that you're offering your entire being to whoever you're offering. Nama means not mine. This body, mine, word, everything is not mine, it's yours, Prabhupada. It's yours, Krishna, when you're offering obeisances like that. So that's the deep meaning of offering obeisances, and that's a very key part of our devotional service. You come into the temple, the first thing is to offer obeisances. Now, there's a book of etiquette that was compiled the Vaishnava edict that was compiled by Bhakti Swami. And I have that in electronic form, if you will, interested in it. I think I have a PDF of it. And I started reading it. I remember reading the beginning, and it said something kind of surprising. You walk into the temple, and there may be some devotees chanting japa, like come in every morning. So you should offer your obeisance to the devotees, and then offer your obeisance. You know, you've done the Srila Prabhupada, believe it or not. You know, because that's part of the etiquette. And so that offering obeisances to the devotees, to the Lord, to, of course, the spiritual master, is an essential part of our philosophy and of our practice. Because what is it that's preventing us from going back to Godhead? It's the false ego, this false pride surrounding the body and the self and all these different things that we've built up over many births. So that ego has to be purified, the mind and the senses also. And that's one of the most important parts, because so much of it is physical, you know, because the senses with these senses we cannot perceive the name, form, qualities of Krishna. We can't understand them. But if we begin serving, beginning with the tongue, by chanting and tasting prasadam, then eventually all the senses become purified, and then we can see Krishna. We actually see Krishna in the deity. We see Krishna. We don't just see the deity. We don't see statues. We see Krishna there. And amazingly, we hear how the pure devotees, can converse with the deity. And it's quite wonderful. So what Gajendra has gone through, it took him 1,000 years to finally remember, come to the point of desperation and remember these prayers. And Prabhupada encourages in the very first verse of this chapter that, this is one reason why we should remember some mantras. Of course, Hare Krishna mantra, you mentioned them. So that even if we become animals in our next life, we can remember that mantra and be saved like a Gajendra. But the whole idea is that whatever we do in Krishna consciousness is carried over. There's no loss and no diminution. But we should endeavor to become as pure as possible in advance in this lifetime, so that maybe we have one more lifetime or even no more lifetimes that we have to finish up. But it is very encouraging that each one of us originally has been in the spiritual world. We all have our spiritual bodies, and we're fortunate to have come in touch with this movement with Srila Prabhupada, and we're hearing these lives. I don't think you were here. We read, we had a long kind of dry stretch, and now suddenly there's all kinds of holidays coming and culminating at first in Sunday with Nityananda's appearance day. It's funny because there are some holidays that are, we don't try to put them on the weekend. In other words, whatever it is, it is. If Janmashtami falls on a Wednesday, it's a Wednesday. That's it. But this coming year, about half of the major holidays are falling on the weekend. And when they put together the calendar for the weekly newsletter that we put out, he's giving it. And Badrinath, I saw the letter. Badrinath wrote to Purusha, well, wait a minute. There's so many of these, Saturday and Sundays. We can't move those. And Purusha wrote him, no, this year all of them fall. A good number of the main ones fall on the weekend, on the Sunday or Saturday. So the first one is going to be this Sunday, isn't it? This coming Sunday, Nityananda's appearance day. So I think we're going to find that also Gorpanim falls on a Sunday like that, Radhashtami like that. So it's and there are wonderful times where you can really feel the enthusiasm and the closeness. You get special mercy on those days from whoever's appearance day it is. So it's just part of the purification process. So this verse that we read today is let's see, it was 3, right? I think yeah. And it says, the Supreme God is the supreme platform on which everything rests, the ingredient by which everything has been produced, the person who has created everything. So it reminds me of that, the first of the Chatur Shloki verses. There's like a 4-verse Bhagavatam, which then was expanded into the whole Bhagavatam. And it's the standard thing, and it shows why the Bhagavatam is the real commentary in the Vedanta Sutra. What does the Vedanta Sutra say? Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now, being a human being, you should inquire into Brahman. What is the Brahman? Janmajasya yataha. That from which everything has come. And the Adi in there means, and which sustains everything and ultimately destroys everything. So that's, of course, we know it's Krishna. But we have to inquire into that. So that's what, so in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, the first thing Krishna says there, he's saying to Brahma, Ahame vasame bagre nanyad yat sadasat param paschadaham mire tatat yovishishet sosmiham. He's defining himself as the source of everything, as that source of everything which is spoken of in the Brahma Sutra. That's why Bhagavatam is said to be the real commentary in Brahma Sutra, and Lord Chaitanya didn't write one or have one written. Finally, one was written by Baladev Vidyabhushan because the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya was being attacked for not having its own commentary. And so they wanted to ask the Vishwanath Chakravarti to write it, but he was getting a little elderly, so he asked his prime disciple, Baladev Vidyabhushan. What does the name Vidyabhushan actually mean? Who can say besides Ramapani? Not having the ornament, yeah. Bhushan is ornament and Vidya is knowledge. So it's a title given to those who are especially learned. And so Baladev, he was deputed by his spiritual master, you write it. So he did, but he didn't think he was qualified. So he was praying in the temple of Govinda. He's in Jaipur. This was after he was moved, he's there now, still. And praying, and finally, classic, the garland came down, and he felt empowered by Govinda, but he felt that, Govinda's really writing it, so he's calling it Govinda Bhashya. Govinda's commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So that's in addition to Bhagavatam, but the Bhagavatam answers that question, throughout. But this, especially in this Chaturshloki. Before there was any manifestation, I existed. In other words, before the material world, this particular manifestation, I existed. And then after it exists, I only exist because it's my energy. And when it's all drawn inside, I will continue to exist. So only God can say that. If someone actually says that and it's true, then he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna is not defining that. I am the answer to that inquiry, what is everything caused by? And he goes on, to the other 3 verses of it. But throughout Bhagavatam, we find these kinds of prayers. I'm just reading Krishna book, 87th chapter. That's the prayers of the personified Vedas. Such a rich chapter. The whole philosophy is there, And there's also much of this same idea of the Lord being the source of everything, and because of all its energies, He is everything. And if we simply can understand that and dovetail our will so that we're not trying to enjoy Krishna's property, Ishabhashabhidam Sarvam, then we'll gradually feel that and be conscious of Krishna everywhere, which is so important, because we can die at any moment, But if we are conscious of Krishna, no matter if we're on I-5 or if we're here in the temple, then we can go back to guided. So that's what's happening here. Okay, it's a little late because we did some readings in the morning. Is there any commentary or comment or question about anything in this chapter, in this verse? Yes, Prabhu? We need a mic. Who's got the mics? Is sitting over there.
I have a question about Raghunath Das Goswami's statement. Please explain to us how to understand it. He said that I don't want Krishna without Shrimati Radharani, something like this. I don't remember exactly.
What's the use of Vrindavan without Radharani? In other words, he wasn't interested in being in Vrindavan without, that was one of the statements he made. This is an expression of the depth of his sense of being a servant of Srimati Radharani in her enterprise or activities of pleasing Krishna. And it's kind of the extreme example of the servant being even more dear than the servant, or like that. That's a basic principle of our philosophy, is that, and it's kind of intuitive. Prabhupada gave the example. I was hearing a lecture, or maybe it was in class recently, that if you meet somebody, which I do all the time on my walk, they're walking their dogs. There's so many dogs being walked. Sometimes they have 2, 3 dogs. I have to go out into the bike lane in order to pass. But it happens. Like there's this one guy. He's got this funny dog. He walks in a funny way. He's a little dog. He's a big guy and he's a little dog, and he doesn't even have to keep him on a leash because the dog can't really run very fast. He's got some, but it's a kind of a funny, cute, attractive thing. So when I go by people, I often say good morning, And I think one time he gave me a good morning, but then he kind of gave me the vibes that he wasn't going to say. So I kind of walked by, but then I looked at the dog and I said, good morning, Hare Krishna. And the guy gives me a big smile. It's a perfect, oh, you like my dog? Okay, I like you, like that type of thing. So, Srimati Radharani is obviously the dearmost object of love for Krishna. So he's feeling so devoted to Radharani to help her in making Krishna happy. You see? So the ultimate goal is the same, but the means is at the pinnacle of devotional service. To actually have a position, and you'll find that all our great acharyas, when we know who they are, generally it's a manjari. Manjari as opposed to Saki. The manjari are the younger girls, and so they can be present for the more intimate service, services for Radha and Krishna when they're together. And the Sakis, they have to be a little farther away. So the manjari is like the highest position to be in. And you'll see all of the Goswamis and everyone, they have this manjari position. So that's the idea, is that Raghunath Das is feeling so close and devoted to Srimati Radharani because she is the personified, love for Krishna. She's Ladini Shakti personified. So if you can somehow help her, serve her in her enterprise of serving Krishna, then you get Krishna's greatest mercy, because it makes him the happiest. That which pleases Krishna the most is the best service for him. Now, in the ultimate sense, it's arranging for the highest pastimes that he has, which gives him the most pleasure. So that's the way I understand it. That of course, he's devoted to Krishna, but he's doing it in such. He feels in such a way that his personal service is to make Krishna most happy by helping Radharani in her efforts to meet Krishna and to serve Krishna. So it's kind of all wrapped up in one.
And so, like practical, we should pray to her, or we should, how practical in our life?
Well, it's a little touchy because we don't, the Prabhupada's famous dictum, first deserve, then desire, And he gave us mantra, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Bindavaneshwari, Vishamhansa Parimami Hari, offer obeisances to Srimati Radharani. And certainly in great holidays like Radhashtami, we can especially concentrate on Srimati Radharani. But we should, worship Radha Krishna, and Prabhupada even said, especially when we first beginning, that we should worship Radha and Krishna in more in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan, more in the official mood, because we have a tendency to slip out of, if we're not very alert. Then it's not that we make a vast offense and then we have to go away, but we slip into the enjoying mood that we're in charge. We have special agency. Then we can enjoy separately at a certain time. So until we become so steady that we're really not slipping into that, and that we're 100% serving at every moment, then we can cultivate more of this. Not that we ignore Radharani or anything, but that we delve more into the ways in which we can, serve them in person. Like there's this prayer, now I may be out of my depth in chanting the prayer, but I know what I mean by the prayer. When I'm offering obeisance at the greetings, I have a set of prayers for each deities. And there's this one, it's in this Vilap Kusumanjali, near the beginning. It's a very famous prayer. It's in Shivaram Swami's book, of my prayer book. He has a book of his prayers. Now, Devi Dukkha Kulasagare Agarodade Duyamanam Abidurgatam Janam Tankripapa Badanaukayabatam Prapaya Sapatapangajaliyam. I don't know if anyone knows this prayer, but it's very, very sweet. Devi is Radharani. And so he's describing his own, how he feels about his own position. Devi Dukkha Kula Sagadodade. I'm drowning in an ocean of misery, of dukkha, in separation from you. Devi Dukkha Kula Sagadodade. Duyamanam Api Durgatam Janam. I'm this very unfortunate soul. Durgatam Janam. So, Tam Kripa Pabalanauka Yabitam. Please place me on the very powerful boat of your mercy. From Kripa, Prabala, very strong. Prabala, Nauka is a boat. Nauka Adbhutam, wonderful, strong boat of your mercy, and take me to the infallible refuge of your lotus feet. It's a wonderful prayer like that. And, the inner meeting is, he's praying for being reinstated in his original position as a mandri and that. But I think, we can pray like that to Radharani. She's offering us this, don't worry. And that, anyway, that's one of the prayers that I offer. And, I may be not worthy of offering, but it feels right. And so far, I'm not going to stop until I get hit by a thunderbolt or something. Any other comment or question? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you spoke about Bina Prakriti, the separate material energy.
Uh-huh.
One of the elements is the mind. I'm wondering, in the Bhagavatam it is explained that the body is a combination of indivisible particles known as the atoms. So the body consists of all these atoms.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the mind is also consists of the atoms or not.
I would say not. I think the atoms have to do with those first five. Bhumar, Apo, obviously Bhumar, Apo, Anano, Vayu. And then Kung is kind of borderline. What is this ether? Ether is space, as far as I know. But definitely the earth, fire, the water, that's where the atoms come in. And the wonderful thing is that the supersoul is there in every atom. So in one sense, everything is spiritual. The supersoul is there. But the supersoul is especially important because we have the supersoul in our hearts. And when we get the mercy of the Lord, then He appears outside. The supersoul comes outside as the spiritual master, as the Shastra, as other Shiksha and Diksha gurus, to give us the same instruction. And if we practice, then we can get from inside, as Krishna says. The last of the four, I wouldn't say Chatur Shloki, but the four essential verses of the Gita in the 10th chapter. Tesham evam nakampartam ahama jnana jam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashita. To them, to those devotees who are always serving me with love and trying to, satata yuktanam, who are linked to me and serving with love, then from within, as a super soul, I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge out of compassion for them. Now this word anukampa, the Sanskrit language is so incredible. Anukampa. What is kampa? Kampa is one of the ecstatic symptoms, right? Trembling, shivering in ecstasy. So anukampa means shivering in sympathy to someone else. Anu means after, right? So Krishna says anukampa, that I am empathetic to the suffering of all my parts and parcels. So out of sympathy for them, I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance from within the heart. So Krishna is ready to enlighten us from within the heart when He sees us doing the second verse, Matchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantak Parasparam, that thinking of Him dedicating our life energy to him, associating with his devotees, and enjoying by glorifying him together. Perfect Sankirtan metaphor. Then he says, to them, Tesham, who are always linked to me, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. Out of compassion for them, with the shining lamp of knowledge, I destroy the darkness of ignorance in their heart. So those 4 verses, you can see it starts out with understanding that Krishna is the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. But then it ends with, out of compassion, him enlightening us. So the whole thing is sambandha abhidaya prayojan, those four verses worth studying. And what is Arjun's response? Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Babita. He says, oh, you are the supreme Brahman, like that. And his response is very important. So Bhagavad Gita is there, and we should feel so grateful. I know I am, that somehow I was able to come in touch with this movement and chant Hare Krishna, and still surviving after all these years. Okay, I think we should adjourn because it's late, very late, I'm sorry. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.